This is Micah Hoggatt. He is an adult for purposes of criminal prosecution. This was recorded May the 11th, 2008. Micah called 10 times on cell phones and home phone after being told by his father, Eric Hoggatt, not to call the home.
10. Wednesday, 12:18 p.m.
Hey, Sasha, even if anyone I can say, Sasha, I'm really sorry for everything that's happened to you, and you have been brainwashed, and even there is another alternative other than living with your parents and being obese. There's another option, fellas.
Okay, we think he was probably drunk. Sounds rather muffled because earlier he was sounding much clearer. But he threatens to be in North Mississippi for 4 weeks, in a couple weeks. Dorothy Johnson from Fancy Gap, Virginia, was here just several weeks ago when he was calling one of the earlier phone calls. He went on about how terrible it was that grandmother was not welcome when she came. She had come with her friend Donnie Toole, who explained to me why you had to live with people who drunk drove and killed people and were nuts. She was telling me about, she said, my mother died at age 42 of a ruptured spleen. I found liquor bottles in the bushes. I found liquor bottles behind the furniture. My uncle blew his head off, sat on his bed in his bedroom, blew his head off at age 53. So, well, you know, everyone can do what they want to, but they're not going to do it in my house. And she said, my son killed someone drunk driving, but I still love him. And I said, yes, but you don't have to have your children drive with them. I explained that I'd cleaned up all the vomit I was ever going to clean up, that it was not healthy to enable people to live these reckless and dangerous lives. I said, if your husband kept committing adultery over and over, and she broke in and she said, I talked to the woman, and I said, excuse me, and she said, I talked to the woman. And apparently her husband catted around for 5 years with a woman who she said wanted to have his baby, and she went and talked to the woman. And I said, that's sick. And then she's a nice lady, so I said, I didn't mean you were sick, but I mean, that's sick. But, this is our home. We're part of a community of 7 million people who don't do those things, drunk drive and kill people, and we're not going to. I allowed it in my home, and it had a terrible influence. What you just heard on the recorder right there was that influence. They went from grateful, cheerful, civic, well-mannered kids that we got lovely compliments on, to, as their Aunt Donna Rome said, vicious, sadistic liars that their Uncle Ronnie said had problems, which their Aunt Tessa Hoggatt Albritton said couldn't discern between reality and fiction. And that's what alcoholism is. You tell yourself something, and if 2 more drunks say it with you, you believe it's true. All right, that was Micah Hoggatt. We think probably from Kabul. He says he is maybe still in the Marines. He doesn't know. I don't know why he's not saying he was investigated by the Marines, but he said maybe if he comes back to the country. So we don't know where he is. The last time we heard he was in Kabul, Afghanistan, working as a hired gun.
10. Wednesday, 12:18 p.m.
Hey, Sasha, even if anyone I can say, Sasha, I'm really sorry for everything that's happened to you, and you have been brainwashed, and even there is another alternative other than living with your parents and being obese.